Hey there, ladies. Claire Luffman here, Business Mentor, and this is a three-part video series on moving from chaos to clarity, which is really, again, not about working more, harder, but it's figuring out working on the right things, right? Getting the right things done. And today, let's dive on in to talk about where you're most likely wasting time and how to get more done in less time. So if you can look at the person in the middle, this is Treadmill Terry, and she is tired. I mean, she's working her business, right? She's working. But at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month, she's like, oh, did I really move my business forward? That's what she feels like. She's working, but is she getting where she wants to go? So why might you feel like Treadmill Terry, or more importantly, why might she be feeling like this? Like, what is feeding into her feeling like this? There are three main things that I see that's tripping her up. First of all, she's having way too many starts and stops, which I'll talk about in a minute. But what is that? Starts and stops. The second thing is she's most likely not using her plan to consistently guide her work each week. She's not focused on keeping her eye on the prize. She is just doing whatever sort of coming at her. She's reacting. She's living in this reactive world instead of being proactive. And last but not least, she most likely does not have a central master list of to-dos. Maybe she creates a daily to-do list, but she doesn't have it in one central place. All the things that she needs to get done or would like to do maybe someday in her business, all in one place. So let's dive on in. Let's try to help this Treadmill Terry. So first, when we're talking about these starts and stops, what I see is the shiny object syndrome is killing you. And I understand why, right? We are at a time where we're truly blessed, where there truly are so many ways we can grow our business. You all are high achievers, right? There are so many ways you want to improve your business. I mean, I know for me that every single new set of 90 days or every year, there is so much more that I want to do in my business, right? I just want to keep upping my game and just getting better and better at what I do and helping my clients get, better results quicker. And so because of that, because there are so many creative ideas out there and because there's so much we want to do in our business, unfortunately, we move from thing to thing to thing. Like, for example, you might have worked so hard on getting a new website up, right? You're going to be blogging consistently. And I can't tell you how many blog sites or blogging platforms that I see where it's just gone dormant, right? They haven't blogged in like 6 months or a year. And what that does is that business owner, maybe you work so hard on getting that up and running, but you're not experiencing the fruit of your labor because you stopped and you probably moved your energy onto something else. Not only is that killing you, but it's maybe nagging at you at the back of your mind, being like, oh my gosh, I got to start blogging again. Oh my gosh. What is that nagging doing? It's just robbing you of sanity and peace and joy and creativity and oh my goodness. So that's huge. And I see it with other things too. Social media profiles, right? Maybe you worked really hard in getting a Facebook business page up and running, but again, maybe it's gone dormant. Maybe you haven't done anything with it. You haven't been posting consistently. Again, all your hard work in getting it up and running, you're not experiencing the fruit of your labor. So we go from thing to thing to thing. And again, I understand why, because there's so much vying for our attention. There's so many great creative ideas. We just know we want to get to our definition of success now, right? So we're looking for that magic bullet. But there's not about this magic bullet. It's less about what you do, it's more about how you do it. And how you do it is that you're consistent and you utilize that strategy. You don't give up on that strategy or move on to something else. You utilize that strategy to the fullest. You are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You are maximizing that. Really, truly, the dollars in your business are in those finishing details. So this Treadmill Terry, she most likely does not have a plan. And my bottom line advice is for you to create a plan. Every 90 days, create your own definition of a success plan, which is maybe 4 to 6 projects or deliverables that you're committed to doing. You know what? You create a plan and you work the plan. It's that simple. You put on your blinders and you work the plan. You decided what was most important to move your business forward and you focus on those things. And you might be thinking, well, what would go in a plan? I always walk my clients through these 3 questions, and I ask myself these questions every single 90 days. I come back to these same questions. The first is I'd ask myself, well, is there any unfinished loops in my business, anything that's been nagging at me? Like, oh, I really need to be blogging. My blog site has gone dormant. that's just jot those things down, because if anything is nagging at you or these unfinished loops, again, it's robbing you so much of moving your business forward. It's really keeping you stuck. So brainstorm that. The second thing is I want to take a look at my sales and marketing funnel, my profit funnel. And every 90 days, I want to see, has my funnel become clogged? How can I perfect my funnel? For some of you, and you might actually see that your profit funnel is non-existent, that you don't have a top part of your funnel, meaning that your brand and your marketing message isn't super clear and you don't have a marketing plan on paper, marketing strategy that you're doing consistently to attract your ideal client. Or maybe the middle part of your funnel, which is a keep in touch strategy, right? Some way to develop and deepen a relationship with your list. Or maybe it's the bottom part of your funnel. You don't have these offers, these compelling offers that sell themselves, or you don't have a way to convert all these leads and these people that you've been developing a relationship with into becoming a client with you. So if you don't have a funnel, I would go ahead and recommend that you start at the top of your funnel, right? You start getting a marketing plan up and running and just start attracting people into your space that you're going to be building a relationship with. Now me, I have a profit funnel. I have all three parts that are running really well. However, every 90 days, I can perfect it. I mean, there's so much room for improvement every single 90 days for me within my profit funnel. But it's such a great place to look at because the profit funnel is truly what it's all about financially. To have a financially profitable business, we need to have that profit funnel. So I would look there and I'd be brainstorming about ways I can improve and streamline and maximize my profit funnel. And last, I would just take a look at the way that I've been working my business. You know, have any of my work habits slipped or been tripping me up? Maybe some systems that have broken, you know, energy drains in my business, or maybe I haven't been super organized, or, you know, processing the money in my business, or maybe I'm always running late, like any of those work habits. So I brainstorm those three questions, and from there, I then create about 4 to 6 projects, if you will. You can call them goals, commitments, projects, whatever, but it's activity that I'm committed to doing in the next 3 months that's going to get me where I want to be by the end of the year, and that's my success plan. So I have a plan, and I work the plan. That's what the plan is about, right? Is in the first video, we talked about getting really clear about where you want to be at the end of the year. That's a little push pin here on this map. Get super clear about where I want to be. My plan that I'm creating every 3 months is how I best think I can get there. Right? It's not always, it doesn't need to be a perfect plan. It's not like it's a one answer to get there. You could take route A or route B or route C. And after those brainstorming of those 3 questions before, it gets pretty clear about my routes because I see what my business most needs. I go with whatever I have the most energy around, and I create that plan, and I work the plan. The second reason that treadmill Terry might be feeling like this is maybe she's not then using that plan to consistently guide her work each week. Maybe she made this nice, pretty little plan, but she's not coming back to her plan consistently and saying, okay, now what? What can I do this week to move this plan forward, to make this happen, make it a reality? You may have seen this time quadrant from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But what I see, this treadmill Terry, let me get my little pen here. She's spending a lot of time here where she's focusing on things that are urgent, right? A fire to be put out. And it's important, and it needs to get done ASAP. So she's spending time here. However, if she did a better job planning, she would have less emergencies, right? We'd want this quadrant to become smaller. And unfortunately, she's spending way too much time here in quadrant 3. These things, they appear urgent because maybe it's someone else's priority, right? A ringing phone does not mean it's urgent. It seems urgent because it's ringing, or new emails that come into your email inbox, they appear urgent because they're coming in, but most of these things may not be important, or they're not important for you to do at that very moment or that particular day. A lot of times they're responding to other people's crises or other people's agendas. I have no issue with letting a phone go into voicemail. Absolutely. And then when I've got some time, I'll check it, and I'll decide if it's an emergency or not, or urgent, or if it can wait till later in the day, or wait till tomorrow morning. Or what we want to do is we want to spend more time in this quadrant, in quadrant 2, which is super important, right? Because it's moving your strategy forward, your planning. It's getting you where you want to be at the end of the year. However, not urgent, generally not urgent. So maybe, for example, you realize that you don't have a middle part of your sales and marketing funnel. And part of your plan this 90 days is to create a keep in touch strategy. So maybe it's a monthly newsletter or something that you send out, an email newsletter of some type. Maybe it's a blog post or a video, let's say every other week. That's super important to have that part of your profit funnel up and running, some type of keep in touch strategy. However, it's not going to be urgent. It's not like you're going to have clients, calling you up or knocking on your door saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't send out that email newsletter. You're not going to have that. So what do? Even though it's important in moving our agenda forward and our own success plan forward, because it's not urgent, we allow other things that are urgent and a lot of times not important to fill up our time throughout the week. So we really want to be spending more time here. Let me go ahead and erase my drawings here. Oops, there we go. All right. So what I'm going to encourage you to do once you have your plan is to weekly look at your plan. Get in the habit every single week. I'm going to look at mine. I look at it Monday morning, and I'll ask myself, those 4 to 6, let's say, projects, deliverables, commitments, I'll ask myself, okay, now what? Now what? What are those very next actions I can take to move this plan forward? What are the very next steps I can take? I'm capturing those next actions. And then I go a step further, and I want to actually schedule in some weekly commitments. I actually encourage my clients to create 3 weekly commitments. These are not projects. These are not big to-dos. These are small little to-dos. I'm going to do this and this and this. They're on the to-do level. But they're directly aligned with their plan, their 3-month plan. They're directly in alignment with making that success plan a reality. And they actually get that time scheduled into their calendar. Treat that time as sacred. So each week, they are moving their plan forward bit by bit by bit, and they're carving out that time to work in that quadrant 2, right? That quadrant 2, that's super important, but not necessarily urgent. But the more we could spend in quadrant 2, the quicker you're going to get where you want to go. Absolutely. All right, last but not least, Treadmill Terry is most likely feeling like this. She's wasting her time, and she's not using her time wisely because she sits down to work, and she's like, what should I do? What should I do? So she gets a little sidetracked with social media, maybe looks at her overflowing email inbox. It's because she doesn't have a central master list of to-dos. To-dos, I use that word just because it's what we're most familiar with. I actually like the word next actions, which is what are the next actions for me to take. These are not projects, right? And it's not just a daily to-do list. These are things for me to do today, later this week, next week, maybe 3 weeks from now, or maybe a to-do or maybe it's something that I just don't want to forget about. I don't want to do it now, but I might want to do it someday, maybe next quarter. So this is a little bit of blurry here, but this is a system that I use called IQTELL, IQTELL.com, IQTELL. And if you look on the left-hand side, this is my everything. All my emails go into this. This is my calendar, my actions list, which again are all of my all-inclusive next to-dos. And I probably have about 60, right? So you can see, again, it's not a daily to-do list. They probably range between, I'd say between, 30 and 60 to-dos at any given time. And they're generally things to get done over the next 2 weeks. Then I've got my projects list. So each of my commitments, each of those bigger projects that I'm working on as part of my success plan, I have listed there in my projects list. So each week, I talked about Monday morning, I'm going to just take a quick look at my projects list, things that I've got, the bigger project outstanding, and I'll say, now what? Now what? What do I need to do to move this forward? And those to-dos become actions. And I'd actually then identify, okay, I'm going to do this, and when am I going to do it? So that's what guides me to know what to do is I actually use a due date. It's not when something's due, it's when I'm going to work on it. So at the very, very top, if you see it says due today, when I'm sitting down to work, I click on due today, and those are the things for me to do today. So you can imagine how I'm not spinning my wheels. I'm actually doing things that I have said that I was going to do today and that are directly in line with moving my success plan forward. You do not need to have a cool app like this or an online solution. It could be a simple pen and paper. It could be a simple manila folder that's got a handwritten list of, these all-inclusive to-dos. But regardless of the system, and there's lots and lots of different ways to do this, we do want to have a place that we're capturing all of these to-dos. And when we sit down to work, we want to have an easy way to access that list of what does it make the most sense for me to do today. So instead of feeling like treadmill Terry, who's working, but she doesn't feel like she's going anywhere, she's not getting where she wants to go. So instead of having these starts and stops, instead, why don't you have a plan and work the plan? Give yourself permission to put those blinders on. And then instead of just responding, reactively and responding to things that seem urgent but aren't necessarily important and not necessarily moving you forward, have it instead you move your plan forward weekly. And you get really good at saying, okay, now what? Now what? What can I do to move this plan forward? What are those things and when am I going to work on it? And last but not least, that you're capturing all of these next actions or to-dos or whatever you want to call it, so that it's off of your mind, it's in one central location, and then when it's time for you to sit down to work, you've got it there. You've got it there. You're not spinning your wheels. So ladies, let's not be treadmill Terry. Instead, again, be that productive, peaceful Paula. And stay tuned to tomorrow's video, where we're going to talk about the #1 thing you can do every week to regain your sanity, to gain confidence, and to be super productive. And I'll talk with you ladies soon. Bye.